Think that skills is the only thing that college coaches care about? Well, think again. There's a lot more going on when a college coach is watching your kid play. And it starts way before they even throw their first pitch. Hey everyone, Evan Mendoza here, 7-year pro baseball player, and I've worked with hundreds of athletes. And today, I'm here to break down what scouts are really looking for when they're evaluating players. Spoiler, it's not just a good swing. If you like this video and you're looking for your player to transform into a college prospect, download my 27-page blueprint down below in the description. Also, you might want to stick around until the end because later I'm going to tell you exactly what to do if your player can't attend a showcase or camp to get in front of these scouts. So first and foremost, it is not what you guys think. More than likely, you're a parent or a player watching this video and you think you know what these college scouts are looking for, when in reality, you probably have no clue in the world and you're getting caught up in all of the wrong things. So you might think that you have to throw 100 miles an hour. You might need to have an exit velocity of 100 miles an hour off of the tee. You might think that as far as a 60-yard dash, you have to run like a 6.2 second 60, right? These are all things, maybe across the diamond, you have to throw 95 miles an hour from shortstop or from the outfield plus, right? These are all things that, college scouts and coaches are going to be looking for, but that's what every college coach is going to be looking for. And it's very, very easy to see these studs because these are the exception. These are the players that have unreal skill. To be able to throw the ball 100 miles an hour or hit the ball 100 miles an hour off the tee, it takes an unreal amount of strength. Obviously, a 6.2 second 60 is blazing fast. That is elite speed. And guess what? Everyone's going to see that, right? But again, that is also in the middle of the showcase. So let's talk about it. We have the start of the day and then we have the end of the day. We're going to just talk about one full day of a showcase and what really happens. So this is really like the arrival, right? This is when everyone arrives to the ballpark and gets out of their car, starts stretching and whatnot. And throughout the day, we're going to have these moments, right? These moments of evaluation, like the 60-yard dash, infield, outfield. We have, pop time. We have maybe scrimmage. Right? So these are the areas right here, right here, right here, and right here, where these college coaches are evaluating your player, right? And you can definitely, in these moments, you can have a positive or negative, viewpoint on if you're even a good fit for that university, if you're an athlete yet. They are truly evaluating you with either they're circling your name or possibly putting a name or a line right through your name, right? But then there's also these areas that I really want to make sure that you have it, crystal clear. There are areas in between, right? And the most important that I really want to talk about is right there, right? You arrive at the ballpark, and before the 60-yard dash, which is typically the very first thing that you guys will all do, this is the most important area. This is where we're developing first impressions. This is when we, are possibly seeing all the scouts populate in the stands, maybe all the college coaches, all the clipboards. This is when they start to truly evaluate and start to pick their guys that they want to look at. Just simply on a couple of things here that I'm going to share with you, all right? So there are a couple ways that you can actually go about this initial area, again, before the 60-yard dash and right after you arrive to the ballpark. And this is going to be exactly what they are looking for. This is like the actual things that they are looking for. So let's talk about some bad things that you can do in that area that kind of just separate yourself in a bad way. So obviously you don't want your player to be doing these things when they arrive to the ballpark. All right, so first things first, shirt untucked. That's not going to be a good thing. That is not going to be a good thing whatsoever for these college scouts that are that they are going to be evaluating your player, right? Hat worn incorrectly, right? So a hat backwards, a hat up. Come to the ballpark ready to play. No belt. I've seen it before. It's a very, very quick, write them off, right? Like maybe no socks, or just maybe like bad posture, maybe bad eye contact. These are all areas of what your player could actually be doing to be evaluated in the wrong way, all right? And these are like the makeup. This is the eye test, which I'll cover here in a second, but these are all the bad things that some players just think that they can get away with, when in reality, these college scouts really care about the simple first impression. And I think a lot of people care about the first impression. Think about, your last job interview. You obviously cared enough to have a good first impression. So your player should have that same feeling of wanting to have a good first impression to these college scouts, these even pro scouts that might be in attendance, right? So the good things that we can do, we can basically pass the eye test. All right, you guys are probably like, what in the world is the eye test? And that's okay. I've done videos before. And in summary, this is the eye test. It's nothing super crazy. Obviously, we have an example right here of Barry Bonds, which filled out the uniform very, very well, very well. And then we have a bat boy here. And that might have been his son. I'm not entirely sure. Probably a little bit younger, and that's completely okay. The eye test simply is how well your body fills out the uniform. And as you can tell right here with Barry Bonds' legs, obviously he was on the juice, but his legs are filled out in the uniform. You can tell, the Bat Boy's legs are a little bit skinnier. The pants are kind of like parachute pants, right? And maybe you've been to a ballpark before where you see a Bat Boy and you're just like, man, he doesn't really look good in the uniform. Well, typically it's like a high school baseball player, and it's not necessarily the best fit for him, right? Maybe the uniform's not tailored. There's many reasons, right? But then even like in the waistline, right? You can see all that excess jersey, right? And obviously Barry Bonds doesn't have that excess jersey. His arms are kind of floating inside of the sleeves. Barry Bonds' arms are very, very big and very tight around his biceps, right? And you can just overall tell like the jersey is kind of wearing him rather than him wearing the jersey. And then Barry Bonds' example, Barry Bonds is obviously wearing the jersey, not letting the jersey wear him. So that, in a nutshell, is the eye test. So let's talk about what kind of matters, obviously. Like the first impression, the shirt being tucked in, the belt on, the hat worn properly, the eye contact, the posture. These are all very important things that college coaches truly do care about. And if you don't think that they care about these things, you've been fed some very bad information, but yes, they do care about the skills as well. The skills are very important. So let's just discuss a little bit more about where I would probably try to position myself simply off of the metrics, guys. And I know that there's some good metric or some good showcase players, and then there's also some bad showcase players. And for me personally, there's maybe one tool that I was decent at in a showcase, and that might have been like my arm velocity. In a showcase, in the scrimmage, I think I topped out at 90. And that was like the best thing that I did. But my 60-yard dash time wasn't that great. My BP sessions were not that great. I didn't hit that many balls very hard or very far. I did have a good GPA, but we'll get into kind of where I would want to be if I had the dreams of playing baseball at the next level. So typically, you're watching this for your player, or maybe you, the player, are watching this, and this is where mentally I would want to be if, again, I wanted to play college baseball or beyond. As far as the 60-yard dash, this is going to be the very first thing that you do when you go to a showcase. I would try my very, very best to be under, I would want to be under probably like a 7.3 second 60. And the reason I say like just around that area, like a lot of people might say 7 seconds is like the holy grail, and I do agree. Under 7 seconds is something that I was striving for a very long time, and I only actually ran a sub 7 second 60 in pro ball, my last year of pro ball when I was with the Padres. So guys, yes, the 60-yard dash is important, but it doesn't really show overall athleticism. It shows how quickly you can run in a straight line. Not many times on the baseball field you are running on a straight line. So, this is something that I've actually spoken to some scouts that they want to get away from, because it doesn't really show what athletic abilities that you need to play baseball, right? So if they continue with the 60-yard dash, obviously you want to be under a 7.3 second 60. If you are a corner infielder, a pitcher, even a first baseman, a second baseman, a catcher, even an outfielder, really all positions under 7.3. Let's say if you're an outfielder, though, outfielders, they care about the 60-yard dash time. So I would say probably like under a 7 second, if possible, because you're going to be competing against guys, and trust me, there's going to be one or two guys that run a 6.2, a 6.3, and you're going to be like, how in the world do they run that fast? Well, that just shows their overall athleticism, and outfielders are typically a little bit faster out there. They have to track down fly balls. Catchers can, get away with probably being like under a 7.5, honestly, because speed doesn't really matter too much for catchers, and that's just how the game works, right? They're constantly squatting and whatnot. As far as arm strength, outfielders will be the first ones to throw, and I would say outfielders, you want to be above 90, if possible. Infielders, it matters, but it doesn't matter as much. I would probably say like 88 plus, and then if you're a pitcher, I would probably try being around 90. And yes, if you're trying to go D2 or D3, you can get away with throwing 87, 88. Yes, I get the game has changed, and really the metrics is like what a lot of people care about, but I want to tell you the story. Our Friday night guy, Brian Brown, at NC State, was a lefty. He was around 5'9", maybe 150 pounds. He threw around 85, 86 miles an hour. And if you guys don't know anything about college baseball, but your Friday night guy is your ace. And he was our ace because he was dominant. He had 3+ pitches. His changeup was absolutely disgusting. And his changeup was so effective that his fastball, there were some guys that swung at his fastball that it looked like he was throwing 95, 98 miles an hour. Obviously, he was only throwing about 85 to 87, but that was because his changeup played so well, along with his slider, which was also a plus pitch, and his fastball was sneaky quick, right? So you think about, where your metrics want to be, guys. Don't think about this as the end all be all. There are exceptions, and if you understand the game to a deeper level, which we'll cover in the IQ area, guys, that is definitely an advantage. As far as your hitting abilities, you definitely want to have either one or the other. You want to either have the contact skills, which is a plus skill. Like, don't just say that you're good at contact when in reality you don't really have contact skills. You just seem to not have power, so I'm going to resort to having contact, right? It doesn't really work that way. You want to have a plus ability in either contact or power, or really both. This is going to be one of the tools that scouts drool over in today's game, and that's okay. Your IQ, you're not going to be able to have like a measurable metric on your IQ, but having that awareness, hustling, these are all things that really matter in the IQ because think about it. If you have the baseball IQ of what to do in certain situations, you should also understand what to do in front of college scouts when you're attending a showcase. And then as far as GPA, it matters, but it doesn't matter too much as long as you're like above a 3.0. Guys, I think that's probably the threshold that if I was a college coach, that's what I would look for. So definitely try getting your grades up in the classroom as well because they do matter. All right, so let's talk about what if you can't attend a showcase or a camp. All right, and I just kind of want to like play out this scenario. Like, what if there was a way that we could send off a video to these coaches personally, directly to them, and they were able to evaluate your son from the seat of their desk. So there is that capabilities out there in the world, the amazing tech that we have here today. It's called email. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you really don't need much to be able to email these college coaches. And yes, there is a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And I definitely was a little bit more on the spammy side of things when I was in high school because to be honest with you, I just wanted to play D1 baseball and nothing was going to stop me. And I think some colleges actually appreciated that, right? But with that being said, there is a right way to do it, and there were mistakes I made along the way. There's also ways that, a lot of people do it, which is the copy and paste route and just spam it out to everyone. There are a lot of people sending out emails through these recruiting services, and I can't stress that enough. Guys, do not do this because it is an instant red flag for these college coaches because they see that your son is using a recruiting service, which means he probably isn't getting the recruiting exposure that you guys are hoping for, so you go to a recruiting service for that exposure. So it's just an instant red flag because these college coaches think like, what is wrong with him? That's not a good frame of mind, especially for that first impression. So that's why I believe it's much better to just go direct to the source and you want to email them, right? And what are they really looking for in a video that you send them in an email? Because it is very important to be able to showcase your skills. Maybe attach some obviously like a highlight video, which is where you get evaluated from. You really get a feel for who you are to them, to their university. But what are they really looking for in the video? And I know a lot of people are going to limit themselves and be like, well, I don't have a video. I don't have a highlight video. No highlight. Highlight. You get the picture, right? People will make excuses for everything, and that's completely okay because those people that make excuses probably don't really want it that bad and don't really want to put in that work, right? So there's going to be many excuses along the way that you don't know how to film, you don't know how to edit. They're going to be the excuses if you look for them. But at the end of the day, if you truly want to play D1 baseball, and if your son really wants to play D1 baseball, he's going to do this and he's going to learn this because there's plenty of resources out there, completely for free, by the way, also. So there are going to be things that are excuses right here. But in reality, what do these college coaches really look for? Well, they just want to see how you move as a baseball player. That's as simple as it is. And I don't want to stress you guys out and say, hey, go, get a production crew and get a high quality video. Make sure it's 4K. Make sure it's crisp. Make sure it's all cinematic. Guys, that's not necessary. We're not producing a Hollywood video, and typically an iPhone video will be good enough. So if you're the parent watching this, make sure to film your son a little bit more as he approaches his sophomore, junior, and senior seasons. That way we have the abilities to stitch videos together, create a highlight video to send out to these college coaches. This is going to be one of the most high leverage tasks that you can do throughout the game, and it doesn't require much. And typically on these chain link fence, you can angle your phone and then just record the video sideways. And that's one of the best tips that I can give you. Don't record your phone or a video like this. Turn it to the side and record it like this. That way it captures the entire field. And I promise you, in post-production, you can do a lot more fun things. I love video editing. I'm a creative person. So you can, capture the moment even though you're not like zoomed in completely where you can see all the freckles on your son's face. That is not important, okay? So one of the things that I think is really important is just that you press record from the start of the at-bat, and then you press record at the very end of the at-bat so you don't miss anything. And yes, there might be storage issues on your phone. There's going to be excuses, as you can tell. That's the theme of this slide. There's going to be excuses. Don't let yourself give into those excuses, because if you truly want something, and if your son truly wants something, he would have already started emailing college coaches. He would have already found my free email template that I give away sometimes on Instagram and social media. He would have found all of the resources that I provide inside my academy and down below in the description. But to be honest with you, sometimes the players that say that they want it, it's just all talk. And that's completely okay, because there's room for average baseball players. There's people that don't feel like it's the right time. There's people that feel like they are never good enough, or they want to get their metrics up before they send out emails. Guys, again, you're going to find the excuse if you look for it. And I promise you, if you truly want something that bad, you will get it. If your son is serious about getting noticed and you want to make sure that he's on the right track for college ball, book a call with me down below. I'll walk through my triple play system, which has turned over 150 students into college prospects.